Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on today. I tell you what, and I said on today, thank you for joining us today. And I am so excited about what I believe God has given myself for this month of April to share with you, to everybody that is out here and that has been joining. In regards to trauma, we are dealing with the trauma series on tonight, and I would like for you to, first of all, like, love, share this video. Please do so. I think that what's getting ready to come forth tonight is going to help so many people. It's going to bring forth restoration. It's going to bring forth healing. And to do that, to get to the masses, to the people we need to reach, I would like for you to please do that. Please share, love the video, bring somebody in, tag somebody, people that you may know that may need to hear, that may need to witness some things for themselves in regards to restoration and in regards to the trauma. Tonight, we're dealing about rejection, irreversible acts, and the irreversible acts that we're going to be talking about tonight is going to be actually mine, but others will fall into place. So if there are things that you want to say, you want to comment about, you have questions about, if you want to share, please do so in the comments, because we will look at them, we will see them, and as much as we can answer on tonight, we will also do that. I have a wonderful facilitator that's going to be joining us shortly, but I want to go ahead and make sure I make some things clear. This is something that is really near and dear to my heart. It is a part of the book series, and I said series for a reason. Shame is not to blame. That's the name of the series that's going to be for the book. The title of the book is Shame is Not to Blame. The first one has already been written, how overcoming pain leads to purpose. And so the information that we're dealing with and that we gathered for tonight is going to be from that book, but we're going to be dealing with the whole trauma piece of itself. So if you have not gotten the book, you can do so by going to the website www.daniellearlee.com. You'll be able to purchase the book there and other items that we have for sale. Now let's get into this. Let me say this one more thing though. One more thing. We're going to be on every night, every Tuesday night this month. Y'all supposed to laugh. Yay. Every Tuesday night this month, we're going to be on, because we're going to be dealing with such a heavy topic, and we're not going to have enough time to deal with so much impactful information in an hour and 20 minutes. So there you have it. So we're going to dedicate this whole month, every Tuesday night, to the trauma series. All right. So we getting ready to rock and roll. I am going to bring on to you, the producer's gonna bring on, because I ain't touching no buttons. With you to the stage, the very capable, very beautiful, my friend, my cousin, my ace boon coon, my, can I say that, my ace boon coon? Whatever. Like, I love her to life. Y'all have to know she is funny, she is genuine, and she has a heart of gold. Shawn Felder, how are you?
Hi, everybody. And you better call me your ace boom coon. You call me something else, I'm mad about it.
You're right, right? I know. I know. Listen, I was when I was talking to you earlier, right before we came on, and I called you by your nickname. I was like, "Oh, child, I hope I don't just be just busting out your nickname
Yeah,
on
you're
the
gonna be
live."
disrespectful with it. It's okay.
It is okay. Okay, as
It's
long as
okay.
you're fine with me being disrespectful with it
Yes.
on tonight. But anyway, I'm so glad that you decided or you accepted this responsibility from me tonight because, like I said, um I thought about who could I ask, and you were the first person that came to my mind because,
Awesome.
again, I didn't even realize how close we were. And when I say close, I know, but we finally found out how close we were, how we were actually related as cousins. That's a whole nother story, y'all. That's a
Different
part of
story,
this trauma
different day.
series, right? I know,
Yes.
right? But just how close we are with, our lives and things that have happened, amongst us. And so that was just like, whoa, like I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So I wanted you to come on and help us walk through this facilitate this process because I know when I talk I can just keep going, if you will.
Right.
And so I'm gonna need some pauses. I'm gonna need some time for the masses to be able to say what they have to say, to be able to read some comments, to go through some things. And so yeah, I want you to tell my YouTubers and my Facebook followers as well as my Twitter followers,
Twitter. Let's go with that.
Twitter. Um, Tell them who you are and tell them a little bit about yourself, and then you take it from there and you take us through.
Okay, great. I am Shawn Felder. You'll hear Danielle probably call me a couple of other things throughout the night, but Shawn Felder is what I'm known by. I am not a licensed therapist. Let me start there. I am not a licensed therapist. I'm just a woman who has been through some things. I've seen some things. I've laid on some couches. I've talked to some people. And I just want to share the things that I know that have helped me along this journey. So as Danielle digs deep into her own life, you'll hear me say things or you may hear me make comments, but it's only because either A, I've experienced it personally, or I've talked with some others that have experienced personally, and we've just decided that this was the best route for them. So the things that we're saying tonight, it's what was best for Danielle and what worked for her, or what was best for me and it worked for me, or what's best that worked for a friend of ours and may work for you. But we are not licensed therapists. We're just
Mhm.
women that have been through some stuff and did the work to get out of the things that we've been through. And we want to possibly help some men, women, boys, and girls do exactly the same thing. Where our work is not important, who I am in this moment, because this is really all about Danielle. And wait a minute, and these, shame is not to blame, these books. I've
Yes,
got
you
my
can
journal
do
and
it.
I've got my book. So this is really about Danielle and Danielle's journey. If you see me on the street, please say hi. I would love to meet everybody that's watching. Um, I think we're just going to get into it. Let's just get into it, and as we grow and we know each other, if the people want to know a little bit more about Shawn, sure, I'll tell you whatever it is that you want to know. The one thing that I will say is that I'm an open book and I'm very transparent. So don't ask me if you don't want to know.
Lord
Um,
Jesus.
I believe in standing in my truth instead of lying in someone else's lie. And yeah, that makes me unique in that sense. But I'm no different than any other person out there. I just want to help people help themselves. I want to help people be better. I want to help people be whole. I want them to realize that wholeness is where it's at. And you only get one life to live. And how awful would it be if you've lived your whole life living for someone else and you die
Mm,
not knowing who you are?
that's good.
So,
That's
if we
good.
can share some of that tonight to help you unpack some of that, to learn who you are, then we are going to do just that. So, Danielle, let's get started. Where do you want to start? Because I know where I want to start.
Oh Lord. You know what? You're the facilitator. So that's why I chose you to do what you're doing. So wherever you
Perfect.
want to take me,
Now, for
Jesus.
those of you that have your book, I'm going to be making a lot of, I'm trying to figure out where my frame is, guys. For those of you that have this, I'll be referencing this a lot. So if you see me looking down, if you don't have the book, it is an amazing read. It's a very thin book, but it's an amazing read. You'll learn, as you're learning more about Danielle, you have to sort of deal with yourself in the process. That's what makes this book great. So
Yeah.
it gives you that homey feeling of you're not alone. Somebody else is going through some stuff too. So maybe if I unpack mine, I might actually make it out because someone else made it out.
Right. Right.
But I'm not advertising the book. I'm just saying it was a great read, and this is what we're going to be discussing today. So that's why I'm referencing the book. Now, you said
Awesome.
that we were going to start with, and let's start with, we're talking about, and we're on the chapter of, I'm trying to get it right because I want the people to know. Let's start with the pain of rejection.
Right. So that's what, like, chapter 2, is
That
it?
is chapter two.
Okay.
Chapter two, the pain of rejection. There's a lot to unpack in this area. I want to first ask you, because you started with this chapter, I know why you started with this chapter. Tell the people why you started with the pain of rejection. Why'd you start there?
Ooh. Well, I think the reason why I started in this chapter is because I needed to set the tone and set the pace for where I was. And how my life journey in my eyes began with the whole who Danielle is at this
Hmm.
moment. And so when I decided let's do rejection first, and I'm saying let's do because of course, when you're writing a book, you have a team and you
Hmm.
put all your thoughts out and we got to it and it's like, yeah, let's do rejection first because when I started talking about the rejection and in this book, the rejection piece is a family dynamic thing because I talked about home and you for me it's what I had to deal with in the home is I think what pushed me per se, can I say per se, what pushed
You
me per
can.
se into where my whole life journey went because of the way I felt that started in my house, if that makes sense. So when I started doing the rejection in that light and with this chapter starting with it, discussing the rejection with my father, because for me the first person that you know and you love, and as far as a woman is concerned, and this is my perspective, is you look and you're typically looking for a male or a mate that resembles what your father shows, because in light or in terms of you thinking of that, okay, my dad is going to show me the love and he's going to show me how you are supposed to be loved, and so that's the person that I'm going to gravitate to. So that's what you look for, and because of the fact my truth and the way my truth stood and stands in this is I feel and felt that I didn't get that from my father. And because I felt like I did not get that from him, then it took a whole turn in my life in the way I dealt with some things. And you hear me say the way I dealt with some things because even in this, the healing part of that rejection is I had to in turn the tables and start dealing with me, because that's when I started to realize, whoa, wait, there's some massive stuff here. Like there's some things that wasn't dealt with. There's pain here, and I had
Hmm.
to deal here. So I think that's the reason why I literally started in this chapter, because I needed people to see who I was small, if you will, to come up to where I am. Now, you said you feel like you know where I started, so or why I started there. What were your thoughts? So what do you
The
think?
reason why I say I know where you start, why you started there,
Hmm.
was because in order to realize, well, in order to come to the conclusion that you're not whole, you have to have that. I call it the Lazarus experience,
Uh-huh.
meaning when Jesus, you're going to hear me make a lot of Bible references, people. I'm church. I don't know how to do nothing else. Okay.
That's it. Come on, do it, girl. That's you right.
With
And me
that
too.
said, when Jesus went to see Mary and Martha about the fact that Lazarus was dead,
Right?
he very well could have spoke from where he was, but he said, "Take me to the place where you laid him."
Going back.
Sometimes we've got to go to the place where it died. And for you, in my opinion, this is the place where it died.
Girl, come on. You want to start to have church in the beginning of this?
It's too
Like,
early.
I
It's
me's
too
that's what we
early.
doing?
It's too early.
It's too early for that. Like, come on
It's too
now. Wait
early.
now.
But
It's too
yes,
early.
sometimes we as human beings, we want to deal with surface stuff. I call that fruit. You can look at the tree and you can tell that there's pain. But what's the
Right.
root of that tree? What kind of tree
Come
is
on.
it? How did it get to where it needs to be? There's some roots that dig deep, and if you're looking at the fruit and you miss the root, you've missed the whole thing.
Right.
You will mess
Right.
around and be a fully fledged tree, but be barren, bearing no fruit because you haven't dealt with the root.
Right.
So we have to go back to where it died. And for you, This is
That's where it
where it
died.
died.
That's where it died. And that is a great way of putting that too, Shawn, because it that's where it died. Like everything that I thought, my whole process in the beginning for my life, when I turn back around, right, and look at what happened,
Mhm.
how did Danielle become such a mess that Danielle is? And I start backtracking and I started going back and looking. I landed right here.
Mhm.
Because for me, this is exactly where it started. This is where the detriment of my life started. So that was really, really good. Going back to where it died, it died. And when it died, it killed some stuff a lot, you know? So that's good. That's good right there. We are sort of kind of frozen at this point. So I'm going to continue to talk in regards to the rejection piece while we're trying to figure this out. Because one of the things in regards to rejection and that whole dying part was I had to start then looking at myself. And when I said started looking at myself, so when I started writing the book, and if you have the book, you'll actually see information that I started talking about, literally dealing with where that first initial pain for myself, the first initial rejection that I felt started, which was with my dad. And let me put this disclaimer out like right now, right now, right now. My dad is a wonderful man. I love him to the fullest. I would not ask for another father if I had to. If I had to, I wouldn't ask for another father. My dad was there, he was present, he did everything for his family. He was a provider. He loved us, he took care of us. But I had to then come to realize as well that my dad went through some of the hurt and pain as well. And so because he went through some trauma, generational curse stuff that wasn't dealt with, then he too, then because of it, pushed that out onto us, onto his family. So then that is where I stood there in regards to, all right, I got to get this going. I got to deal with him. And so dealing with him issue for me was I was a daddy's girl, like total daddy's girl. I did everything and anything I could do to please my dad. I went to work with him. Laying bricks. My dad was a professional brick mason. That was his trade, and he was great at it. And I will say the best. I can say that because that's my daddy. And he was the best at it, and I did everything to that I could do just to be around him. Problem is that though I was doing all those things with my dad, trying to be around, trying to please him, I always got this negative and this cutback from him. My dad would use words that would just kill me, if I could say it that way. Totally knock me down, totally knock me out. You're sorry. You're never going to be anything. You're not worth anything. This comparison factor, even back then, like I didn't realize, how much the comparison factor, and this was even after writing the book, I didn't realize how much of a comparison that was happening with me with other people that he would see and he would do that. I didn't realize it even till writing, like again, writing the book, that my dad used to compare me with people even when I was younger. And so it was weird, but I felt like I never could amount to the worth of what he expected in me. So even from being young, even when being out there working with him and doing the things that my dad did, like I could build a house from the ground up. I can look at a wall and I could tell you, yo, there's a hog in the wall, something going on. I could do all of those things. And being that I could do those things, that for me, I was like, yeah, like let's get it done. Dad, I would hide in the vehicle to like literally go to work with my dad. And I did that. I would go in the vehicle, hiding to be in work with my dad because I just wanted to be around him. And even though I was doing those things and I was doing good things in his eyes, because he would compliment me, he would say it. He was like, yo, that's good. At the turn of the day, I always felt like I got the brink of something, the brunt of something, like I wasn't good enough. So I wanted to share that because I wanted to let you all know that, you know, even then, I asserted myself and I forced myself during those times to like be like the best. Like I gotta do this. I gotta be the best. It has to be me. And I kept doing that. And so it's coming from him, it was sort of kind of like heartbreaking, if you will. And I'm not gonna get emotional about it, but it was heartbreaking because, you know, for looking from then and looking to that to at my father now, you know, it's he's everybody looks at him like he's like, oh, and he is, because that is who he is. But just to have that beat down from him early on, and when I say early on, I'm talking about from a very, very young age, that like 5, 10, those early age where, you know, I was getting that attack from him, so I felt beat down. However, again, a wonderful man, a wonderful person, but when you're rejected by your dad, again, I'm a little girl, impressionable little girl, looking up to someone that I expect and I am thinking that is going to be my all in all, right? That somebody is going to take care of me, that's going to love me and show me all of these things. And again, in the natural, if I could say it that way, he did that. He took care of us. Like everybody in the neighborhood, like Peter Lee is it. Like he was that dude. So he took care of us. But at the end of the day, those words, those scars went deep. I mean, it cut really,
You
really
know,
deep.
Danielle, you and I have discussed this, and I apologize. The devil knew I was talking right, so he shut my internet down for a second. But we back.
We back, girl. We
We
back.
back. Um, the experience that you had with your father, and I've shared this with you. Your father was the first man to tell me every time he saw me, and I don't know if we said this in the beginning, but Danielle's dad is my uncle. He was the first man to tell me every time he would see me, he go, "You're just a pretty black girl." And I would beam and I would smile. You're just a pretty black girl. He didn't say you were pretty for a black girl. He just told me that I was a pretty black girl.
Right.
And it was
Right.
in those moments that I look back at it now, he was the first man to tell me that I was beautiful and didn't want anything in return.
That part.
Yeah,
That's a
didn't
whole
want
nother
anything in
that's a whole
return.
nother trauma. That's
That's
a
a
whole
whole
nother
nother
trauma.
trauma.
That's a whole nother trauma right there. But that
We'll get
part,
there.
we gonna get there. But that
But
part,
all of that to say, the experience that I had with your father, which was this beautiful experience,
hmm
when I was a child, and it's what sort of helped mold and make me to be the person that I am.
hmm
Your experiences with your father molded you and made you growing up to be the adult that you were. So you can
right.
have one person give two completely different experiences.
Exactly. Exactly. It's almost like a oxymoron. And I say that a lot of times because when I'll say like, "Oh my God, my daddy did da 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 da," but he was just so nice, and people like, "What? They don't go together, right?"
Right.
Another person in very close family pretty much said the same thing you said when they were reading more stuff like throughout the book, and they was like, "He did that or he said that," and it was like, I don't know him to be that way. And I reflected like on your comment of what you just said,
Hmm.
and in my situation, there's some, even between the girls, like us in the house, it's all girls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's all. I'm the boy. I was like, no, it's a boy. That would be me. I'm the boy of the family. There, it's all of us. We're all the girls in the family, and they didn't have the same experience that I had with him.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what's like, why? I was talking to one of my sisters and she was like, Daddy said that? Like Daddy did that? And everybody else was like, well, where you been? Like, like you didn't, was like over the head type situation.
Hmm.
So again, it was a molding and a shaping of totally people, totally different ways. And again, y'all don't talk about my daddy now. 'Cause I'm gonna tell you, we
Oh,
gonna
because we
fight if you do.
fighting.
Cause we
We
fighting.
fighting.
My dad,
Yeah.
like when literally say he's a wonderful person, he's extremely wonderful. But at the same time, I believe that my dad saw some of me, him and me That's how you go. And he could probably even sense some of the things that was happening in my life, that happened in his life, some of the
Right.
stories, some of the whatever. And it was that reflection. And so the only way he couldn't deal with it the way he should have, right? So he took it out on me.
Well, here's the thing I've learned. And see, therapy, y'all get a good therapist because therapy will teach you
Yes,
that
sir.
people do the best that they can with what they have at the time.
At the time.
And your dad didn't have the tools to do anything different
That part.
than what he did.
That part.
Because you go into the book towards the end of this chapter and you talk about how he was a veteran.
Right.
And there's some things that and he also had some family histories and some family secrets that he
Right.
had to deal with.
Exactly.
So he didn't have the tools to do it any other way.
Right. And I
And there were
and
also some things, if the truth be told, that you allowed because you didn't have the tools.
of course,
You're a
yeah.
child, you didn't have the tools.
Right. And
So
just you
you,
just said it. I was a child. Like my mom, I was
yes,
talking to my mom about something, and I said, daddy da 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 and whatever, whatever. And then she said to me, "Well, what did you do?" Immediately, I was like, like, what do you mean? What did I do? Like, I'm a kid. I did what kids do. What did you do to cause him to react that way? I'm a kid.
hmm,
Like, I this is crazy. Like, it's why, and my cousin just put up here, it's so hard to think, why was I treated differently? Why me? That was Tasha, that was the thing. Like my whole life, I went through this, literally my entire life. We talking about this rejection of why me? What is it about me that makes me so different from my other siblings that caused me to do that? What do you mean, mom? What did I do? Now, granted, when my mama said that, we were adults, we were talking about me doing the book, and when I said I'm gonna say da 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 or not specifics, and she was like,
right,
well, what did you do? And she caught herself immediately, so I have to give her that. She caught herself, and she was like, that's not the right thing to say,
right.
because she went right back to that, because you were a child.
You were a child.
So
But
that's not
here's the
on you.
thing,
It wasn't on me because I
right,
was a child. But at the same time, when you're talking about dealing with a person that they didn't have the tools themselves, they were
right,
lied to their whole. My dad, the stuff my dad found out at an older age where he should have known, like that kind of stuff. And I reflect and go,
yeah,
yeah, and again, I'm not giving my dad a pass at the things he said. Cause you don't
no,
tell somebody you worthless. You don't tell somebody you could be sorry you ain't gonna be nothing. You don't tell somebody, basically like some of the things that happened to me. Well, that's
right,
your fault. That's what you get. You don't say that. Those are
right.
things you don't say. But when
And
you
I
don't
agree.
deal,
We hold them
right,
accountable. We hold them
right,
accountable. But
right,
there is a measure, just a measure. There's a
just a
measure
measure.
of grace that is given simply because they did the best they could with what they had.
That is true. And let me tell you something, even when you saying there's a measure of grace, it took me, because there's a question on here that said, did you ever address it with your dad or your family? Why this book is here.
Yeah.
Because I
This is
had
the
to.
address.
This is the address, because that's so funny that you said it just like that, because some of the family members, this is the address,
Yeah.
because conversations can't be had, because going right back to the part of being rejected, and the way you looked at when you say something, because of things that happen, I'm dumb, I'm worth, like that stuff that was there, like. And so with my dad, the way I addressed it with him is, as I got older, because I had to start now doing some inner reflections,
Mm-hmm.
inflections, whatever. I started looking at myself. And when I started doing that, and again, not giving passes, but at the same time, Danielle, how can you heal me? I
Right.
cannot heal anybody else if I can't be healed myself. I can't help anybody in the area where I cannot overcome in that area. So for me,
Right.
I'm like, okay, God, how can I heal with this? Like, what happens? And it was like, you got to deal with some of the things that you're going through. Like, I had to like started putting it together. So I literally was like, well, why? I went back to the why me's. Why me? What is it about Danielle that is, I'm a kid. What is it about
Right.
me that you beat me up? not physically. Oh, I got some whippings though. I might need to check physically. But we got our spankings. But you beat me up. What is it? What is it? So I started doing my own little investigations, family stuff, to try to figure out what the major deals were. Like
Right.
what was going on? Like what is it that you knew, that you found out that you never got to talk to your mama about? Or you addressed with your mama and your mama never came clear with
But
you,
here's the thing. If we don't take the time to empty our own trash cans because we have to deal with our own stuff, we
girl.
then take that trash and try to put it in someone else's trash can.
And that's what happens. So a lot of times when you getting beat up, you,
Hmm.
they're putting their trash on you. I don't know is, and I keep saying, I go back to the scripture. God don't put more on you than you can bear. And some people say you take some scriptures out of context. But for me, I think that was one that I held on to in this aspect, that it's for a reason. This happened to Danielle for I'm gonna tell you right now. I totally do not think my dad could have done this to my older sister and she not break. My older sister is like, Daddy said that. Like she didn't. She was like, I never heard it. I never
Because
heard
it
him
wasn't
do
her
that
experience.
because it
That
wasn't her
wasn't her experience.
experience, right? But I don't think that she could have gotten that, would have gotten that experience, and God wouldn't allow that because she would probably break. I'm not saying my sister weak. I'm just saying for this moment, for this particular thing, it wasn't there for her. And so again, now I'm getting all the trash dump on me but the problem with that, here's the problem with that, Shawn. I got dumped on and I held it and I held it and I held it and I soaked it up and it became a a whole tree. The
Hmm.
seeds were dropped and
Yep.
a whole freaking tree came up right there. Oh, you sorry. Oh, you ain't gonna be nothing. Oh,
But do
you
you want to
trash.
address the fact that in this book, and I don't know, you wrote it, so I know you know it, but
Right.
I've read this book and I caught it differently the second time. When he used to call you his little boy and you said, yeah, you changed your whole identity.
My
You're
whole
not a boy.
identity. I'm not.
You changed
I
your
ain't.
whole identity just to be accepted.
And I don't know if I said it specifically like that, but somewhere near in that chapter, I state that fact of
Hmm.
just to be accepted.
Just to be accepted.
I did stuff. Just the to be accepted. You were the path of least resistance. You right. You right. I totally agree with that. The path of least resistance. I
Uh huh.
totally agree with that. But yeah, I literally took my whole I changed who I was just to be accepted by my family. And BJ, I'm gonna come back to address the fact of me addressing it because it was. Like I said, you can't really talk about that dude right now negatively. He still got his issues. We all do.
We
I
all do.
still I still get hit sometimes with the. I won't say it's that you ain't worth nothing no more because now he sees the worth. Right now, I'm his queen. I'm his model. My dad don't come to me, but you so beautiful. You are my. You should have been my model. Now, I want what some of the things that want to come out my mouth. I'm like, nigga, what you mean? I want to be your model now? Like, dude, you should have been saying that stuff to me when I was a kid and I wouldn't be going through the stuff that I'm going through now or had gone
Right.
through. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I had to I took the dump and when I took all of that stuff in, I literally the tree grew. And so when it grew, it totally completely changed who I was. Any and everything that I did as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, as a grown married woman. I'm grown married woman now too. As an
Hmm.
older married woman, I did to please my family.
But you
Like
did it as a hurt person.
I did
You
it
did
as
it
a
as a
hurt.
hurt person that hadn't taken the time to heal.
Exactly.
And it looks different once you've healed.
Exactly.
But
It
we can't heal the things we don't confront.
and
Some people
so
just want to heal. You got to
right.
deal in order to heal, though.
Talk about it. And you have to. And there was some hard times. So let's go to these confrontations. There
Yeah.
were some points to where, I had to, he would start saying something. We'd be at the table. I think I said this in the book or whatever. Somebody come over, we eating or whatever. And he introduced everybody by their titles. Or like my sister, and I'm not belittling. anybody's educational spots and whatever. They did what they did and they deserved and earned everything. So that's not what I'm doing. But it was Dr. It's my sister. It was this one's a teacher on her way to get her doctorates like this, and this my yelling baby, or this Danielle. This, she do hair. I'm like, okay. I just do hair. And that used to get me because I was just the one that did hair. Like,
Right.
you ain't nobody. Let's back up. Truth be told, I could make more money than the doctor if I
Truth be
did.
told,
Truth be
truth be
told,
told.
because there's some hairstylists out here that's mm, okay
Mm-hmm.
with everything. So I could. However, that was infested, that was in me to where I just couldn't deal. I didn't know how to deal. I didn't know how to handle it. But I started bringing it up every time he would say something. I was like, yeah. I said, but that doctor ain't cutting your hair right now. It was Christmas time. I was cutting my daddy hair in the bathroom, and he started talking, and I was like, I turned around, I turned and looked in his face. I was like, you see this clip in my hand? You ain't hardly got no hair now, but I promise you, I will clean you up. I will take all you. You don't want to talk to the person that can clean your head.
That can
And then he
clean your
kept
hair.
going. I said, and let me say something to you about this. This hairstylist. I'm a hairstylist that owns a business, my own business. I can set my schedule the way I want to set my schedule. Like, so I started going in and doing whatever, and it was a little rough. Because I had to. At this point, I'm like, I can't take this no more. This has been about like maybe 5, 6 years ago. And I'm like, I'm done with this foolishness. Let me go ahead and tell you what I got to say about you.
Right.
You're gonna stop talking about me like this. You're gonna stop belittling me. You're gonna stop telling people I'm just a hairstylist. If you can't address me by saying I'm, your jewel, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I'm that, but then you address everybody the same. You're not gonna do that. You're not. And then they will look at me like, oh, he just called you the hairstylist. That wasn't helping. But at the end of the day, I had to address it. I was talking to my mom one time, and my mom and I, we were sharing, and we were going on. And let me tell you something, the same thing. My mom never really said anything like as a belittling thing to me, but at the same time, she would put her little spin on something. This is a prime example, and she's on here. We were at the Verizon store, me, my mom, and Kenny. My mom had to do something with her phone or whatever, or daddy's phone, whichever one. It was in there with the
Right.
phone. So we were just in there together, blah blah blah. And I started talking about the Apple Watch. I need me an Apple Watch, blah, 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 blah. Just talking. I want one, but I'm just talking. Or maybe I might talk up on something. She might want to give me a watch. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm just talking. And so my mom mentions about, the watch. I think saying something about the watch my baby sister had and whatever, whatever, whatever. And then she goes, um, we bought Shalay that watch for her graduation, blah, 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 blah. I was like, yeah. I said, well, you ain't bought me no watch. She
Mm-hmm.
said, you ain't graduate from nothing. It hit like up,
Yeah.
and then she caught herself, and I was like, my husband was like, ooh, and he like walked away. He was like, I'm not. And when she said it, it gripped me so hard. When you growing though, I took
Mm-hmm.
it. Now I didn't graduate from anything, and she said, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. You didn't graduate from college. I graduated from a college. It's called Paul Mitchell, the
Mm-hmm.
school, Charleston. I did that. I graduated. And then it was, but she couldn't sleep on that. Like, my mama kept calling me. She called me when she got in her truck, and I was like, "Mom, we good." I was to the point of saying we're good. Like, I
But
could
can
say
you
that.
acknowledge the growth though?
Girl, the
Because
growth is
years ago she
beautiful.
wouldn't have.
She wouldn't have. It would have been like, there were times that my mom would do something, and again, rejection. I'm just putting it all out there. Y'all on there, whatever, mom. I know I love you. Um, all of them, like, literally, my dad and my mom bought all of them a vehicle. All of them. My mom and dad did not buy me a vehicle. Why you can't buy me a car? Now, granted, I mean, that sounds trivial. Not when you buy everybody a vehicle and it's a gift to everybody, right? And then you turn around and I'm like, all right, I want one. And it was like, man, you can get your own. You can do it yourself. Can I get a car? can you do something? Boom, rejection. Why I can't get it? My mom said to me once before in regards to the strength that she saw in me. And because we had the hard conversations, here we go. Now we attacking everything. She started talking about the fact that she was treated like this by her mom, who, when she had conversation with her
Mhm.
mom was treated like this by her mom. So the
Mhm.
cycle just kept going on and on and on. And I said, well, you ain't got to treat me like that. It's this got to stop. Like,
But she was
dude,
using the tools that she had.
she was using the
She was
tools that
using the
she
tools
had.
that she
And she
had.
was told the reason why she was treated like this is because that she was strong. She knew that she could handle it. She ain't had to worry about her. You ain't gonna cry and break for everything. Da 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 da. So she looks at me and says, I ain't got to worry about you. I can call you for everything. You ain't gonna cry and break about everything. So here, she wasn't doing it maliciously, but with the tools that she knew. I thought I was doing good by telling you that you strong. Honey, no. No, because what you showed me was I'm not even worth a gift as such. You giving everybody else stuff and you can't give it to me. Why I can't get it? Like that kind of stuff was always like, oh my gosh, like again, rejection. But we're at a whole different place now. Like my
Right.
mom, when I tell you, my mom gave me a card, y'all. My mama said to me in the card, I ain't go. I told her, I said, Mom, you almost tried to make me cry, and she was like, Did you? Like, did you cry? No, yeah, I ain't cry. But in the card, and this one piece in the card, my mom was like, she was like, I thank God for the friendship that we have.
Mhm.
And she said, I like you. Because we got this thing about the love and like thing. The Bible says you
Right.
gotta love, but I ain't gotta like you. So then she
Mhm.
says, and I like you, that type thing. And I was like, wow. There wasn't a time that we could do that. And
Right.
let's be real and honest, we could not do that. I'm still struggling and going through some things with family stuff. To this day, something happened today, and I was like, I'll be a whole monkey's uncle. Are you serious right now? Like, can you not, like, literally, like, and I had to call one of my friends, and I was like, yo, walk me through this, because this is where I am. Boom, boom,
Mhm.
boom. And we was like the enemy. No, we like to, and I'm gonna say this, people like we like to blame everything on the devil. He isn't trying to blame stuff on the devil, but we know tactics of the enemy that can throw you off.
Right.
And it was like, you got an assignment. You got to talk to people that I like, come on. And this is throwing you off. I said, this is a big throw off, yo. Like, cause I'm like, this is like the same thing. So I had to go through it. I had to deal with it. I had to do some inner deal. I had to go within myself. I had to learn
Right.
who Danielle was. And I had to start loving myself because I'm trying to tell you I did not like me. I didn't even like me.
Well,
I
see,
didn't.
at the core of rejection, if you peel back all the layers of rejection, what you'll find in the center is something of no value. The only reason why we feel rejected is because we don't know our own value. Because I promise you, the Shawn
Girl,
that you could reject when I was 12,
right,
you can't even talk to me nice.
right.
And to me nice. Because if you don't, I know how to remove myself from the situation. Just because you don't see my value does not mean that I am not valuable. And I will take myself somewhere
That
to
part,
where they see my value.
right, right. You better
But
say
at the
that.
core of rejection are people that don't understand exactly how valuable they are.
And that's where I was. Like I literally did not understand my value. I did not think I was well. Again, I
Hmm.
don't know my value because, and you keep going back. But people sticks and stones, break your bones, words will never hurt you, liar. Them words cut so doggone deep
Words
till it was
cut.
like words cut. And
Yeah.
I was just like, man, let me tell you, I mean, it was just a whole thing of you keep hearing it until you again, the tree manifests, and that's what you think you are. So then you don't know your worth because you think you're worthless anyway. So you don't
Right.
try to find it. Like at that moment in my life, I didn't even try to find it. And then that pushed me to all kinds of other stuff because now I'm trying to prove and prove and prove and prove and prove. And so I'm proved out. Like, dude, like I had nothing else to do.
But
When
you
I tell
lose
you,
who you are. You lose who you are trying to prove to somebody else who they think you are.
listen, listen,
You lose who
and
you
that's
are.
and that's so sad and that's so bad, but that's exactly what happened. I could have been, and this is again not downplaying where I am now, because I love my life right now, so that's not what I'm saying. But if had I
Mm-hmm.
probably received the love that everybody else got, that you were shown, right, not even in the house, but you were still given that positive affirmation, and you were still shown love, the ones that my sisters got, whatever. And let me put another pin here. I'm not saying every time in the household with them was peachy keen and hunky dory, because there's some issues there as well. I'm talking about my truth and what I felt and the brunts that I got. So let me go ahead
Right.
and say that again. But had I had gotten a smidgen, just a smidgen of that, I could have been doing some things, honey. Because when I tell you that this understanding who I am and loving on myself literally happened maybe a good 5 years ago,
Yeah.
6 years, maybe six, when I started the process. And even after, and I'm gonna say even after Gabe was born, saying Gabe is 5, he'll be 6 this year. So even after he was born, Ken and I went to a counseling session, and we were sitting on, talking to the gentleman, and and it wasn't a counseling session like something was going on. We were just like, yo, let's do a check. Let's see how we are. Let's see where we at,
Right.
type thing. And we sitting there, and he was like, all right, what y'all want to discuss? And we was like, So we just started talking, and I started talking, and I just started talking, and Kenny started rubbing me on my back. And I was like, well, why are you touching me? And he was like, this is so good. I'm so proud of you. And the person looked at me and said, so when is Danielle gonna love Danielle?
Listen,
I
that
was
is the
like,
question. That's the
I love
question.
I love me. Wait, like I
Mm.
I love me. And then I started sinking in the chair, like, right? And Kenny looked at me, my own husband of 14, 15 years at that time, was like, nah, you don't
Yeah.
love you. I was like, saying to myself, nigga, you know I didn't love myself. Why you ain't tell me I didn't love myself? Like, what is going on here? Like, you know it and you didn't say anything, but it was like, no, like, you don't. And I did not realize how much I did not love myself. But
I
when I
had one of
started,
those moments as well. I was actually, I used to build airplanes for a living, everybody. And so I'm standing
yes,
in the middle of this plane and building airplanes, running wires. And one of my coworkers, I was telling him about a situation. And long story short, we'll get into it later, maybe. But one of my molesters had died. And I said, am I supposed to feel bad that my molester died? Am I supposed to call that? Because I was friends with their family members. I said, am I
girl,
supposed to call them? And I didn't know what to do. And I was like, well, I can't really. I said, I got to call them to make sure they're all right. And then he said to me, he said, Shawn, who makes sure that you're all right?
mm, that part.
He said, who love? He said, I've watched you nurture everybody. Who nurtures Shawn? And I thought to myself, no, nobody. I
Right.
can do it. I can nurture Shawn. And the whole time, there is this. I'm going back to the Bible, y'all. Forgive me. But
No forgiveness needed.
forgive me. But there's the story of where Jairus' daughter is dying, and the
Hmm.
woman has the issue of blood, and they're in the same chapter. And I never understood why they were in the same chapter. Well, the story goes on that Jairus' daughter died. The woman with the issue of blood got to touch the hem of the garment, and then she was healed. And I'm like, why are these in the same chapter? They don't make any sense. But it wasn't until somebody shared with me that it wasn't until the little girl died that the woman could live.
Ah,
Uh, so
come
my little
on,
girl
little
had to
girl, dead
die
little girl. I
because I
got
was
that.
30 something, 40 something years old, but inside I was still 12.
Shawn, I was talking to a girl. I almost called you by your nickname, but I caught myself. I did. I was about to say it. I was talking to another mentor of mine, and he read the book, and then we were talking, and he started talking to me. And as I was talking to him, this is after writing the book. He says to me, he said, I can hear the 13-year-old
Yeah.
girl talking to me right now. He said, I know you're a grown woman, but all I hear is a
Mm.
13-year-old. And I cried like a baby.
Oh, girl, we leading and bleeding is what we are. We out here doing big things. We having conferences. We giving talks. We giving
Listen,
pep talks. We calling our girlfriends. And inside, we are 12,
dying. And
dying.
dying. And
We're
I was
healing everybody else and allowing ourselves to hemorrhage
ex- just pouring
slowly,
slowly.
slowly.
And I literally felt that thing when he was saying it, and I started crying, and I was like, "I'm 13." And he was
Yeah,
like, "Yeah." He was like, "I got you though." It was like, I got you." He's like, "Now we got to raise this 13-year-old girl up."
yeah.
I wrote the book, but I didn't realize that there was still issues because you're healing yourself. It's restoration. So I'm still being restored in different areas. And so the book was not just for, oh, I want everybody to read this, what happened. It's a
Mm-mm.
restoration and a healing process for myself as well. And in order for us to heal, we got to overcome some of these things.
Absolutely.
Rejection is definitely one of them. We have to heal from it. We have to know that it we can be restored. The pain is there, but you can grow from the pain
Right.
that you're feeling because some of that is necessary. I don't want anybody to have to ever go through the things that I went through, but it's
Hmm.
necessary. For me, it was necessary for Danielle to realize, to finally come to a point. My cousin told me, she was like, when I graduated from cosmetology school, she sent me a card, and she was like it's about time. I knew 10 years ago that this is your path. Like, you should have been doing something like this, blah, 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 yada, 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 yada. And I was like, so why you ain't tell me 10 years ago? You had to walk that out for yourself.
Yeah.
I
But
wanted
you
to
couldn't
kick her
help.
in
You
the
couldn't put me
head.
on the road.
But you couldn't put me on the path. Like, I had to go through all of this right here, but I needed to walk it out first. But that person always has my back. Always
Awesome.
kept me positive. Always was pushing me like, yo, like I got you. I got you the whole time. I got you.
Yeah.
So,
Now,
oh
Danielle,
child.
rejection could take the whole night. We're going to pivot, and
Oh,
if
we
we have to
need to
come
pivot
back to
because then it took a
rejection,
lot.
we took a
Yes,
lot.
we took a lot.
If we have to come back to rejection, we will. But I want to touch, because the last two things, actually we could talk about them at the same time. But we're going to go to chapter 4, and we're going to talk about the irreversible act.
Yes.
How much do you want to go? I see your eyes getting big. Where do we want to
Go
go with
ahead, knock it
this?
out. Knock it. Just let's
Okay.
go.
So for those of you that have your books in Facebook land and YouTube land and Twitter land,
Twitter
for those of you that have your books, we're going to be talking about the irreversible act and doing something that you can't undo.
doing something that you
There's a
absolutely
part
cannot
again.
undo.
I reread it today because I wanted to be ready for you. I wanted to be ready
Mm.
for you, and there was something that I caught this time that I didn't caught the last time, and I want to see if you're actually going to say it. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to just tell me what made you put this in the book. Why was this important?
I think that this was important because that's a big question. Because it was extremely important, and I think that one of the reasons why I put it in there is because I wanted everybody to know that you can do something no matter how detrimental or how bad people will look at you or would think about the situation. You can come from it, you can come through it, and you can actually progress. You don't have to stay there. You can heal even from that. um I put it in the book because, too, because that sort of kind of collides with the other portion of church hurt as well. um but I put it in there as well because when you're dealing with abortion, right, when you're dealing with that type of um when you're dealing with the rejection and the pains from the past, that catapults you with some other things, because we skipped that chapter, but we'll come back to it at a later date. But when you're dealing with all of those different things that catapults you and put you into another area mentally, because for me, the mental and emotional state of Danielle was so off, if you will. Nothing was um off limits of what I would do, in my opinion. I don't know if that makes sense. And so because I felt like nothing was off limits, I could do pretty much anything when it came down to the pain that it brought and the relationships um that happened from this. It was something that I felt that needed to be shared, because I think people need to know that, you can get healing. God don't hate me. He doesn't hate me, and he's not going to hate you for that. And so I wanted to share, because people look at me and they were like, no. Like, I had people come up to me afterwards that read the book. It's like, oh, like, how you feel? What do you want me to feel like? What you mean, how you feel? Like, huh? Like, so it was that type of thing for me. I just felt like it needed to be shared, because people needed to know that they're not
Okay.
alone, and you can live. You don't have to wallow in it. You can live.
Now you talk about there in this chapter for me there were two irreversible acts. One of them you actually tried to reverse, but there was the abortion, which
Hmm.
you talk about in small details. But there was also the breaking of the trust of the friend.
There you go.
There was the breaking of the trust of the friend because you trusted this friend who had also gone through her own abortion moment.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I'm just feeling the people who haven't bought the book yet, just giving them a little snippet. But you confide in this friend. This friend says that they're going to tell you, and then when you walk up to make this life changing decision, because it was life
Yeah.
changing decision,
Right.
um, she hands you the phone, and the pastor's wife is on the phone.
Girl. So let me
Now
let me
Jesus be an entire fence because this part always gets me.
I know. I know.
Um, so she gives you the phone, and we're going to deal with this in two parts. Let's talk about the feeling of getting the phone and realizing the betrayal.
I, I don't even know how I felt. Like, the portrayal was so weird. Like, it was just so weird, because, like you said, when I found out that I was pregnant, out of wedlock, right? And I was like, oh, first of all, there was no fear of God in my thoughts. My whole thing, here we go, rejection, that pops
Back
back
to
up,
chapter
because
one.
back to chapter one, my whole thing was, oh crap, my mom is evangelist in the church, my daddy a deacon. This gonna make them look bad. I didn't think about anything else. I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't even think about the baby and giving, like, oh, this is a lot. Like, my thoughts were so off. It was so off. It was, I gotta make sure I don't make my mom and my daddy look bad. I gotta please them. What am I gonna do? Oh my God, what am I gonna do? And I remembered my friend. I remembered her. I was like, yo, I know she'll be able to, she gonna help me with this. So I entrusted her. I go and I tell her, and I'm like, yo, so here's the thing. This is where I am, and we gotta go. Like, I gotta figure out what I gotta do, and look up everything. Okay, this way I gotta go and take care of this. And she was like, bet, I'll take you tomorrow. I'll pick you up. I mean, you can come to my job, and you pick me up, and then we go. I'll make sure you drive there, drive you back, because you're gonna need a driver, blah, 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 blah. I bet. So that morning I walk into her office where she was working. She's on the phone, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just waiting her to get off. And literally, she was like, hold on, somebody want to talk to you right quick. And I get the phone, and I'm like, hello, hey. I was like, this nigga. I said it. I did. I'm sorry, but that's what I said. I cannot believe this is happening right now. And I looked at the phone, and I looked at her, and I was like, you son of a gun. I didn't say gun.
Yeah, we
All
got
right.
it.
And I was just like, how could you? And the person is talking about, so what you getting ready to do? You want to go out? I think they're like out to eat or something, some crap like that. I'm busy. I gotta go. Click. I looked at her, because now I know I need a driver. You going? But I can't buy. And I walk out. And I drove to North Carolina, because that's where I was going. I drove to North Carolina like, now here's my thing. Everybody and their mama getting ready to know now, because she done told her. So
Right.
now I got to deal with that. She betrayed me to the fullest because all I could think was, dude, you did the same thing. You got a heart now. Don't have a heart on me. Don't try to feel good. Oh, no, you shouldn't do it. I don't need to hear that. All you had to say was like, yo, I ain't comfortable and let me find another way. But not that. You don't tell that business because that was my business. That was my personal thing. And
Right.
so that killed me. And I got to the place. They said, you got a driver? Yeah, she in the car. Lie. They were like, okay, question me, da 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 da. Boom, the process happens, and I leave and I get in my car and I drove from North Carolina back.
But do you realize in that moment that you had lost two things?
I lost two things.
You lost two
I
things.
lost a whole baby and I lost a friend.
Yeah.
At that moment, I'm like, so you never, well, for me, you never even was my friend because like there was no way you could have done that. I didn't.
Okay. Here's where we fight. Here's
Before
where
you
we fight.
fight. I know because I know what you're gonna say. The friend in her was like, "No, don't do it. You can't do it."
Maybe, just maybe, and let me offer this. You take your face like that, but let me offer this. Maybe, just maybe, because she had had that experience and
Right?
she knows what mental toll it has
Oh,
taken on her, she was
yep.
trying to save you the mental toll. Now,
I
she
get
went
that.
about it the wrong way.
Absolutely the wrong
She
way.
went about it the wrong way.
And here's
But
my thing. Go ahead. No, go
mhm.
ahead. Go ahead. Finish your statement. Finish your
No,
statement.
I'm saying she went about it the wrong way. But again, I'm offering a measure there to say that maybe that was the only thing she knew to do because people do the best they can with what they have in the moment. I know, fix your face. And her thing is maybe she didn't want you to go through that mentally. So let me reach out to the church because
The
the church is
church, because the
supposed to
church is
be supposed to be the safe place.
so
Some
then
instances
that
that that
goes
was
back
not your
to
safe place.
that goes right back to that church hurt part that we're going to talk about too because like I
We're
said this
gonna get
because
to it.
that ties there because you and I give you all of what you said. I'm with you. I'm 100% of what you just said. I know that, Shawn. I know that she probably tried her best. She was like, Danielle, you just can't do this. I can't allow it. So I'm gonna reach out to the church. The pastor's wife should be able to do that. They should be able to. Crystal said, nah, listen, if we was
I know.
friends,
I know. I
she should
know.
have let me know how she felt. Crystal, I listen, I'm with you on that. And I'm fighting my cousin right now on that statement because I'm totally with you. She should not have done that. And I
She
totally
shouldn't have.
agree.
There's no
She
fight for me on
should
that.
there's
She was
yeah,
wrong.
right. She
But
was
she was
totally
also
wrong.
coming from a desperate place. She was wrong.
Exactly. And I get
She
that.
was
But it
wrong.
was crazy because even after that and in that moment, by the time I got back to my house, like my sister was like, hey, like how you doing? First of all, when she said the hey, how you doing? I was like, this chick know. I know she know because I mean, I know the pastor wife done told her. Like that was evident for me right there. Like, okay, I'm fine. You sure? Girl, I'm fine, you know. And then so when the pastor's wife comes over, right? And now she there, and I'm like, this nigga. Okay, I'm trying not to say that word too much. I'm sorry. But it was like, so why you here? And she was like, how you okay? Like, yes, I had to leave. Like, I don't even want to see y'all right now. The ultimate thing with that, though, with the
Okay.
betrayal for me, with that is even so, that was still my thing. That was on me. That was my thing to know, that my thing to bear, and and nobody, y'all can't hold me to say, oh no, like, you should talk to somebody else. But I didn't want to do none of that. Like I needed to get rid of this because I need to make my I need to make my mom and my daddy proud. I was still stuck there, y'all. I hadn't healed from rejection to
Hmm.
even say, oh my God, like I need to do that. But then I go to church for a service and I'm sitting in the church for a service and my mama happens to be at the church for the service. And I got pulled in the office by the pastor wife.
No, not yet.
They, bu-
Don't go to yet. Don't go. Not yet. Not yet. Hold this.
okay. The
Hold this.
facilitator stopped me.
I
Okay.
just want to address one thing before we
What?
go into that.
What?
Eh, what you gonna stop treating me rough? Okay. So, so what I want to address in that moment because you was like, how can my friend betray me?
Hmm.
Betrayal only comes from people we love. No one else that we don't love can betray us. It's not possible.
Yeah. I
It's
got you.
not betrayal unless I love you.
Right. Right.
Betrayal comes, it's from somebody we love.
That's true. But I don't love her no more. Okay. Oh no, wait. I love her. I don't like her no more. Cause the Bible say I gotta love. So I don't love her or like her no. And I can't say I don't even like her no more. Cause I mean one thing about me, you gotta really burn a bridge. And when I say that, how can I put that and saying it so it can sort of make sense even for myself? Because I'm not gonna hold it so long and so hard because there's a word called forgiveness
Yes.
that has to happen. And even for this, I had to get to forgiveness. Yo, my cousin read the book, and when we got to certain part, she was like, I need to know the past wife, and I need to I need to know the friend. She was like, we got some things to handle. I was like, girl, calm down. Like, we good. Like, I was like, no, we good. But I get it because that level of betrayal makes you go the ouch, like for real. Like it is painful. It is hard. It is a task that you don't even want to deal there. Like you don't even want that type of pain. So I get it. I get it that it comes from somebody that you trust,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Yeah.
and I and I and I stay there because I trusted this lady. I trusted
Right.
her with everything. I trusted her even the more because she went through it. So in my head, I go, surely she's gonna understand why I need to do this. Surely, my cousin said, yes, ma'am, name. Surely,
Yeah.
surely,
Oh, I see the thugs are out right now.
the thugs, yeah, that's
It's
right.
off. The
Like
thugs are
it's all
out.
like we getting ready to handle business. It was hilarious. Like it was hilarious. I was like, dude, no, calm down. But yeah, it was to the point to where I knew I had to forgive. Like, oh, Crystal, absolutely, no more access,
But
girl.
here's the thing,
No,
forgiveness, and we as Christians, sometimes people use our Christianity against us. Just because I forgive you does not mean you get a seat at my table.
you don't get a seat. You don't
You don't
get
get a
you.
seat at my
You
table.
ain't getting the
Now, there's some
crumbs, yo. You ain't
relationships
getting the
that we will
crumbs.
repair.
You
We
ain't
can, we
getting the
can
crumbs.
repair, and you can come back, but not everybody gets re-entry
That's
into my
true.
life. Forgiveness
Absolutely.
means I've moved on from this situation. I wish you no ill will. As a matter of fact, I wish you well. I wish you well over there.
Right. Way over there.
Over
Like
there.
way over there. And
Yeah.
and just like you said, you talking about you don't even get to eat crumbs off like the crumbs. I'm not giving you the crumbs because you might get too fat. Like I don't want you to eat anything from me. And that's why that's that right there. You can never cross that line. Like well, I ain't planning on ever doing that again. But still, I'm just saying there's a line. You are never getting across that line ever in my life. Like you're not gonna get that close to me ever
Yes,
in my
Sabrina,
life.
forgiveness is for you.
Yeah,
Forgiveness is all it's for
and
you.
it is absolutely for you. And that's why I can forgive because it was for me to be the person that I am today. I had to forgive in order for me to heal. I
Right.
had to forgive. I literally had even the pastor's wife. I
Okay, let's
had
talk about it.
to.
Let's talk about it.
So to talk about it, like I said, with my mom, excuse me, when my mom was at the church and it was this conference, whatever, and I was sitting right beside behind my mom, whatever, and I was about to go somewhere, and then it was like leaving after church, and it was like, yo, come to the office right quick, and my mom, um, the pastor's wife, and my sister is in the office, and I'm like, well, what's the problem? What's happening? And it's like, don't you need to tell her, nigga? Tell her. I'm sorry. Tell her what? Like, what do I need? What I need to tell her? Who? What are you talking about? You need to tell her something? No, you don't need to. And I'm looking at my sister that was standing at the door, like, oh, like I love her to death, but she's so. And I'm like, what? And so then it was like, boom, it comes out, and I was like, oh, this what we doing.
Yeah.
This what we doing right now. So I got a whole nother, and my mom, y'all, my mom's face dropped like, oh my God. My mama immediately hugs me. And when she hugged me, I was like, I got you. I know where you at. My mama hated that moment. Not, and I don't, and I'm not gonna say she hated it for her because, like I said, I was doing everything to please my mom. She hated it for me because that exposure was totally unnecessary. And me and my mama had conversation after that later on in life, and I was like,
Right.
"Dude, you remember that time?" She was like, "Yeah, I was not with that at all." Like she was like, "Nope." I didn't know. Now that's what she told me. If there's a different story out there, I don't know it. I'm telling you what my mama told me. She was like, she ain't know. And she was not happy and pleased at that
Listen,
at
when
all.
I read that, listen, let me take off. Listen, let's talk about it. I wanted to put Vaseline on and let's get it in with the first
Listen,
lady, and that's not okay.
right? It's not, and it's not okay because. But here's the thing. Uh, it
We've got
goes
some
right back.
questions, Danielle.
What a question at what it is.
Um, and I can't see them the way that you can see them, but somebody asked, did your friend ever apologize? One is was it exposed? And then somebody just said something about the pastor's wife. I can't see the comments the way you can.
Okay, I'm about to take a drink. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's too late. I was trying. I was. He was trying
Pending
to put it on
something,
the
but we
screen.
want to answer these questions.
Okay. Did the friend was your friend's abortion exposed or kept? Ha! As far as I know, my friend's abortion was kept a secret.
Okay.
Guess what? As far as y'all know, it's still a secret because y'all I never exposed nobody's names.
Right.
Nobody knows. I've not said one name. And unless she told somebody, I don't know. She told me, she shared it with me. So as far as I'm concerned, um, I did, and guess what? I'm that chick. I don't expose nobody else dirt. There's a whole lot I could say, but it wasn't my place. It's not my place to tell it. So I
Right.
don't do it. That's not the person I am. I ain't no tip for tat person either. Oh, you hit me, I'm gonna hit you. Now, I might hit you if you hit me, but if you I'm not that's not me. I'm not gonna do that. So no, as far as I know, Hope, it was never exposed. Did she ever apologize? She who? Sophie, so are you talking
Let's
about
answer it both. Let's answer the friend
the
and the
the friend?
pastor's wife. Did they both apologize? The
The
truth is the
friend,
truth.
yes. The truth is the truth. The friend, yes. The friend profusely apologized. Um, Telling me the reasons of why. The whole thing, I didn't want you to go through the same thing I went through. So all of what you said, she said that. She did apologize. And and it took me a whole minute to forgive. A whole minute, and no, let me change that because it wasn't a forgiveness there. Let me change that to let her to release her from it, if that makes sense. I released her like, yo, dude, you don't have to keep saying it. I'm good. It is what it is. You did what you thought you had to do. I accept what you did. You did what you thought you had to do. So in for her, unless she was to buy the book and read the book and or see any of these lives or see this one, for her to know that I truly can say I forgive her now, I don't know if she ever got that. But she never got that from me in the beginning.
Got it.
But she did apologize, yes. The pastor's wife. The pastor's wife apology was more or less that I did it because I was helping you. I did it because this is not how we supposed to live, and I needed to help you. Like, ma'am, that ain't no apology. Like, it wasn't a true whatever. And when she
Okay.
was trying to do it, honestly, if she was going to ever get to the point to the true apology of it, I stopped. I was like, yo, let me talk. Like, you stop talking. Let me do this. What you did was dirty. What you did was wrong. You shouldn't have done it. Da 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 da. And she and if I can say this, yes, I was talking to the pastor's wife. Yes, at that time in life, fighting like a full-fledged let me beat you down was there and present, but I was very much so respectful in
Hmm.
my confrontation, if you would, because for me it was more of a confrontation.
Right.
um and so I was very respectful there. Her thing was, though, it was like she really felt like she was doing it for me. Ma'am, you ain't apologizing, so let me stop you. You can never do anything for me. And so moving on. And so, but have I forgiven her? Yes.
Okay.
Does she know that I've forgiven her? Yes.
Okay.
Do I talk to her now? Yes. Like I can like and am I comfortable talking to her? Yes. She gonna get my deep dark thoughts? No. that because there's a line. There's just a line for myself for protection that I will not cross. So
Okay.
no, that part will never happen.
And let me offer
Um
something right there before you go to the next question.
mhm.
People out there in the Facebook land, in the YouTube land, in the Twitter land, if you have a qualified pastor or first lady that is qualified, hence the word, qualified to give good counsel, because not all pastors are counselors. You can have Jesus and a therapist, and you good, because sometimes you can't go to your pastor, sometimes you can't go to your first lady, because they're going to give you their opinions and not qualified advice.
Right.
So just because they
Qualified
bear the
advice.
title of pastor or first lady does
They ain't
not
counselors.
make them counselors.
They're not
That's all I'm
counselors.
saying. If
Right.
you have one, that is wonderful. However,
Right.
that is not the majority of folks out
D-
there. And I'm just
Literally
saying,
not
get
the
you a
majority
qualified
of
counselor.
right.
Go lay on
Eh,
somebody's couch and get healed. That's all I'm
li-
saying.
Listen, we
Okay.
must do that.
Miss
Growing
Mary
up,
Young has a question. If you can address that, please.
growing up in that type of church, was a pastor's wife speaking from a place of concern or condemnation? Did they know how to help in a way that it doesn't offend? Hmm. Um, I, y- Lucretia, I don't know if I can answer that. I don't know if I don't. To be on, okay. So let's go back into the moment, if I can do that. Because right now, I believe that same pastor's wife would totally address something like that differently, and would be on more of the concerned side if she was to say something. So I want to put that there. In the moment, I believe it was condemnation. I believe that that's how it was addressed. Um, that's my truth. That's what I felt. I felt that it was condemning. Here we go. That that I did something that oh, that's just a sin, and you're going to hell, and you can't be delivered from it. That's how I felt. Like I felt all of that coming on with that. So did they know how to help? In a way that doesn't offend? In the moment, I think no. Now, 20 years later, yeah, I would think that they could. But in that moment, no. That I think she was speaking from condemnation, and I don't think that she knows how not to offend anyone.
What was the time period between the her on the phone with you trying to stop you and the confrontation at church? What was the time period?
It
Was it a
wasn't
week? Was it a
long.
month? Was it a year?
Oh, that's a good question. I honestly don't remember the specific time frame. I will say though, it wasn't a long time. Because that occurred in 97. Um, no, that didn't occur in 97. Jesus, that occurred. Wait, you know, I got out of the military in 98. That occurred in 99. Yeah, I got out in 98. That occurred in 99. And shortly thereafter, that's when it I can't remember. I don't think it was a year. That for sure. Like it
Okay.
wasn't that long.
Okay, I'm just wondering if she gave you a chance to process it yourself before you had to expose
No, it
yourself.
wasn't. No, it wasn't now that part. I would say no. I
Okay.
definitely can say a year. No, but matter of fact, it might have been less than a month. As a matter of fact, it could have very well been less than a month. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that part. Oh,
Now,
child.
also in this chapter, and we're going to close it up because I don't think we're going to get to the church hurt, but let's close up at least this chapter. There
Yeah,
were a
we.
couple of things that stood out. You said that after the betrayal, one day you pulled her aside and you told her exactly how you felt
Hmm.
about what she had done. You said that in your hurt and frustration and pain, you told her bluntly, don't interrupt you while you were speaking because she tried to interrupt you. Was
Right.
this the first time that you stood up for yourself that you recall? Yeah, I
Yeah.
went there because you were you were trying to please, you were people pleasing for the majority of your life.
Yeah.
But
I
this is
think
the
it
first time that at least I've
yeah, yeah. I think honestly that this was definitely the first time that I literally was firm. Like, I'm a talking, you ain't talking type
right,
thing. And I stood up for myself. So I'm gonna say yeah on that.
or
Yeah,
at least one of the first
yeah.
memories of it.
D Yes. Yeah, 'cause I didn't stand up for myself back in the day. I didn't. Like, I did not. Like, especially in my youth, my younger, living in the house type thing. Like, no, I did not, no, I didn't. Because again, when I was standing up for myself, it was more like a beat down. Like, "Oh, here she goes, she about to whine about something," or whatever. So, it was like, there's no need to talk because I wasn't gonna be heard. So, using my voice
Hmm.
didn't matter at the time. It was
Right.
like, why am I even using my voice? Because you're not listening to me. You're not hearing me. So at that moment, I think that was when I literally did use my voice and I said, no, this is not happening. This is not what's going to take place. You're going to listen to me. You're going to feel what you did to me. You're going to hear me. And in the interjectings were those parts of to say like, again, like, well, I was just trying to do it for you or something like that. And I was like, shut up. I didn't say shut up, but that's where I was. I'm like, shut up. I probably should have at that
Right.
moment, but I don't know. But that's where I was. And so, yeah, I didn't though. I definitely did not um allow her. I didn't allow her to speak. I didn't allow her to try to pacify her issues or pacify her state. Now, I am going to say this too, because again, we talk about people dealing and moving in where they are
Hmm.
and in the pains and stuff that they're also dealing with. She was dealing with stuff.
Of course.
So when you're dealing in a certain area, again, you go with what you know, and it's sad. It's so sad that this is where the church is, and I'm going to church hurt. Um,
Let's
I
go.
do see the time. I'm gonna go in there, and I'm not gonna keep you too long. I'm looking at my producer now. I'm like, I ain't gonna keep you too long, and I don't want to keep you guys on here too long as well. But I want to go into that because just like you were talking and you stated earlier, the majority of the time, what we do when we go to church looking for the healing place, the place that we can become whole, the place that we can take our problems to, our issues to, and we're supposed to get from that the love, the respect, the care, from the pastor, the church members, the whoever. You're getting that, you're pulling on that because that is what's needed to build you, your own person. So whatever the issue is, whatever the problems is, whether it would be something of this state, if I want to at some point wanted to address the abortion, then I felt like then I'll go to the church to address it, but that'll for me at that point after that happened, for me to take something or a burden to the church, psh, forget about it. I'm never going to do that again. Why am I not going to take that burden to the church? Because you hurt me.
But and hear me. You were hurt. You went to the church where you met a whole bunch of hurt people that wouldn't admit they were hurt.
And that's a major problem. And I was going, and that's why I said, let's go there because
Yeah.
hurt people hurt people. The
Hmm.
thing about the hurt people is the people in the church. So if you go to a church where you got a bunch of people that are hurt, what you expect? Church hurt. Because people say, ain't no such thing as church hurt. It's the people in the church that's hurting you. Well, dang it, they in the church. So it's
They're
church
a
hurt.
representation of.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
Exactly.
don't have a church. I don't pastor a church, but when people see me, they sometimes see church. And if they see me out here wilding out in these streets, I'm a representation of.
Right.
Not
Right.
that I ever told anybody to make me that representation. So, yes, when we go to the church, we expect that the representatives
Yep.
will represent God well in that moment. And that doesn't always happen. And it's so unfortunate. But
Right.
again, we've got a whole bunch of hurt people with positions that are
P-
camouflaging their hurt. And so now if I expose your hurt, I don't have to deal with mine.
I don't have to deal with mine, and that's the issue. And so a lot of time, so going to church hurt for me. So I don't know what topic you want to tackle first. So let's go to the church hurt. And
Let's go.
I know you highlighted something or whatever. So what do you want to deal out of that? And if you don't deal with what I think, then we'll go.
Let's see what I highlight, because yeah, I got my book, people.
She
What
got
I
her book.
highlighted was actually I was on the first page.
That's funny. The
Listen,
first page.
first page, you said I felt like I was receiving more burdens than actual healing. I have the conversation often with people when I say, why do we continue to go to a restaurant where we don't eat?
Mm, that's
We
good.
continue to go to the restaurant. Like, I don't eat chitlins. I don't
At all.
at all. But why do I keep going to a restaurant to serve chitlins when I don't eat chitlins? I don't eat okra. This restaurant serves only okras and chitlins. Why am I still going when there are other restaurants that serve the meals that I eat? And sometimes we go to church out
Tradition,
of
family
loyalty,
stuff, loyalty.
loyalty to a specific church or denomination or group of people or whatever, and we leave
Hungry. Yes. We leave hungry. We leave hungry, we leave devastated, we leave
yeah.
tore up. We leave in that light in that state because again, we keep going to a place that
Hmm.
we getting chitlins instead of that wagyu steak. That's that
Yes,
top of
give
the
me some
line.
of that.
That give me some of that costs $500 for an ounce.
And we're
Be
expected to be worship leaders,
and
because
we
I'm a worship leader, by the way.
right.
We're not going to talk about it, because you're
Talk
going to
about
beat
it.
me down and then you're going to send me out there to worship.
Listen,
And
listen.
I better leave my tithes when I leave.
Somebody just said, and you spend more money and don't eat. There you
Girl,
go. There you go. Cause that's what
so
happens. And so you
that's
you
what
sitting there and
happens,
you
though.
giving and you giving and you giving and you're not being fed.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything that's going to prosper you and to make you better and whole. So I was sitting there in a place when I said I feel like it was just more of a burden. Like literally, there was nothing that I seemed like I could do that just made sense to anybody, anything. It from how church. So I go to a holiness church
Hmm.
where in Pentecostal holiness, we weren't apostolic-ish, but before we evolved,
Right.
we were on that whole, pants wearing makeup thing and all of that sort of kind of heavy. And so for myself, you know, for me, I was wearing the makeup. Well, I mean, y'all see me. Y'all see how I am now. I was still sort of kind of in that vein. Not probably as much with all of the different hair colors, but in that same vein, like I would go to church and I'd have on a shirt that was right here on the sleeve. Like
Hmm.
right, there we go. Right here. I was trying to get in the thing. Right here on the sleeve. And my sleeves were too short. You can't direct the choir, you can't sing because your sleeve too short. But you know why? Let me tell you what I found out. Boy, I'm about to get in trouble. For one of the things that was said, so I ain't got on no sleeves right now. So if I hold my arm up, like y'all see my arm in the camera. So
Right.
this is the idea and the mentality of the people that we were told by the mothers. Here I go, of the church, that a woman, when they open up their arms like that, it looks like their private parts.
Oh,
So we
wow.
have to cover up our arms. So when
Why?
you raise your hand to serve the Lord, a
My
man won't
God.
see your private part. My private part look like this. I ain't trying to be vulgar. I'm so sorry, but that's so stupid. Like that's stupid. Like so I can't wear a shirt like this to church. Come on, you see where we go. So then now they gotta make sure it's down enough. So if I did lift my arms, if it raised a little bit, you couldn't see just a little, like I'm teasing you or something. Shut up. Like this is crazy. But that's
Yeah.
the kind of foolishness that we were in. So I got about the way I was dressing, I got the way I looked. And what was really astonishing to me, I was in church with so much pain and so much hurt with all of the stuff from my past and all of this, and I'm trying to heal. I'm ministering
Yeah.
in foolishness because I was also playing the organ at the same time. And I'm like, y'all want all of this hurt all over this spirit of hurt all over your church. You would rather me play instead of get me healed, but you worrying about what I got on. But then you're gonna compare me to somebody. So here we go. I need to be like Shawn. You need to be like Shawn. Shawn, she here, she da 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 da. Cause you see the meek and nice side of Shawn. But Shawn been rubbing
Ooh,
elbows
Shawn
and
belonged
bumping
to the streets.
with me in the streets last night at the club. Like we bumping, we sitting there on the floor doing all of the crazy dances and stuff, whatever, whatever. But you want me to be like Shawn because Shawn put fake on. She got this facade on. She living a whole double life because I didn't live a double life. I didn't do
Right.
that. I didn't do that two-faced stuff. So Shawn do, and I know, and then they're saying it in front of you, and you looking at me like, please don't expose me. Please don't expose me. And I'm like, you good girl, that's your business. I ain't gonna do it. I was told to act like Shawn. I'm using her as an example, guys. So just
I
so
am
you
not.
know,
I am not out here in these streets,
she not
people. I'm
exactly.
old. I'm
Right.
tired.
You say you old and tired. You want me to be like Shawn because Shawn is just the epitome of what a saintly woman, a guy should be looking like in the church. But Shawn's sleeping with the oh,
Mm,
and I know. You want me to tell you, I know because I took you to meet them.
right.
I took you to
It's in the book.
I took you to the I took you to the
To the
but
Deacon
you want me to,
House. Yeah.
but that's what you want. That's what you want me to look like. And so, or you want me to act like, and I'm like, where's your discerning spirit, discerning of spirits, discernments, whatever? Where is it that you don't even realize as the man, the woman of God, the whoever is coming to me talking like this? Where is that? So to know that these people need healing. All of us, all of we, as my grandma,
Hmm.
all of we need this type of healing and we need this type of deliverance to be going
Hmm.
on within ourselves. We're in the church crying and hurting. And somebody said, but the fact that you went back to the church, yep,
Yeah.
hope. The fact that I went back to the church, I went back to the church that I was hurt at. I went back to the church because for myself, I literally was like, I'm trying to find God. At some point, somebody need to wake up. They gonna see something. That's
Okay.
that's
But
where
can
my
I offer
mentality
something
was.
right there?
Offer it. Yes.
You went back to the church because you were seeking the love and you were seeking the healing, just like you went back to the man
Right. Right.
because you were seeking the love and you went back to the church because that's what you knew to do.
That's what I knew.
It was your
That's
habit.
that's all I knew.
It was
It
what
was
you
my
knew.
habit. It was the loyalty and all of that fall right back into place. My mama and my daddy raised us in the church, and so this is what you
Yeah.
do. You go to church. Let me tell you something. I don't like church right now. Now let me put a pin there because I go to church and I love going to church and I love my church. Let me go ahead and say that. But what I'm saying is this whole stigma of that church building and church, I hate it because there is no true healing going on in a lot of these
A
churches.
lot.
A lot of them. I didn't say every one of them,
Right.
but a lot of these churches, nobody's getting healed. Nope. Lucretia said it. People ain't even talking about the stuff that I'm talking about on this call right now. But my pastor said the other day on a call that we had, because some things came up and somebody brought some information about my book up in a segment that we were talking about. And he said the thing, he was somewhere and it says like 1 out of every 4 people in your church had that situation going on, but we're not even talking about it. And we'll talk about it a little bit later on, like next week or something. But he said, but then you got this person that's now as a male figure, right? Over you. You talked about being molested. And I share some of my stuff in the book, but now you got a male figure towering over you that's in this domineering position that's I'm the man, I'm the and whatever, and you ain't even dealing with the fact you shouldn't be towering over me like that
Yeah.
because right now I'm here because you molested me, not you
Right.
personally, but I
Right.
see a male figure and this is what happens to me, and that hasn't been dealt with. So now, since that hasn't been dealt with and you tiring over me, I got a problem. My problem ain't even with the church as a whole. The problem is in me, because I have to deal with it. I haven't learned to heal. I haven't dealt with it, but now it's thrown out to here because you are right here.
But the churches, not a lot of the churches, not all of them, a lot of them, they're not preaching healing. They're preaching grace. They're preaching prosperity. They're preaching a whole bunch of things. But I came because I'm bleeding, and I came because I'm dying.
They
And
preaching
no one's
forgive
giving me CPR. They're just telling me how to prosper.
Shawn, they're preaching forgiveness, right?
Hmm.
When you
Because
bring
we're
up
covering up
something,
some stuff.
you covering up some. So when
Yeah.
so you bring it up, yo, Bradley just hit me. We had a we had a topic a while ago, um, a while ago, and it was they were dealing with forgiveness, and I was sitting there like, nah, that ain't it. Because as we're stating, or as it was there to share with other people, I'm gonna forgive you, but you ain't coming in this space. That's it.
Right.
Like you're done. Like you're not. So, but it was like, no, because you still gotta be there, and you still gotta. I ain't gotta do jack diddly squat with Bradley. If Bradley hit me, I'm like, yo, you hit me. You get one pass. You get a pass. Maybe you didn't mean to do it. You didn't mean to do it. So okay, you come back, and maybe this time, instead of instead of hitting me, then you stump on my toe. Yo, you still in my space, bruh. Like you still doing this. And so then you supposed to turn another cheek again, and not what I'm supposed to keep getting hit. So now you come back to me and you're looking for that friendly hug or whatever the case may be, and I back all the way up. Oh, you got a problem. Why? What's the problem with you? Because if you hit me again, I'm gonna hit you back. We getting ready to have a problem.
Right.
Because I'm a fighter and I'm gonna fight you. So don't hit me. Don't put your hands on me no more. So it's the same thing. That's the same scenario with forgiveness. It's like literally you're hitting a person in the area. You keep doing it. And if you continue to do that to a person, you think I'm gonna come back. I'm not gonna. There's some windows you might can come back to. Then there's stuff like the irreversible act. You ain't getting in that space again.
Hold on. Mary just blessed me. She says she thinks that they think dancing fixes the trauma. No, Mary,
Girl,
you didn't preach the whole sermon, baby,
girl.
because you can't dance your way to healing. You got to do the work.
Dancing, speaking in tongues, all of that stuff like that. They think that
Yeah.
works. That's not it. Like that's not it.
Yeah.
That's
Can
a
you dance
cover up,
yourself all the way to the therapist's office?
girl.
Can you
I
do
mean,
that?
it's just that cover. It's a cover up. And that's a
Hmm.
problem with even with so many different generations, the curses that we find ourselves in, because it's
That's a
totally
whole
covered.
different
That's
chapter.
a whole different
That's
chapter,
a
but
whole
it's
different chapter.
the cover ups are horrible. And then they say, you're supposed to have that covering. You're supposed to protect people. I'm not saying expose a person. So don't get me wrong.
No,
I'm
I'm
not
saying
saying
certain people need to be exposed. I'm
no, no,
sorry.
no. I'm going there. I'm going there. I'm
Okay.
going there.
Okay.
I'm not saying like for instance, you do something and it's something it's not habitual. It's not a person that's killing your church. It's not
Right.
something that's a fester, because there are pastor wives out there that are festers. There are people out there, pastors that are festers. There's leadership, people in leadership position in the churches that are festers. And then there are just congregational members that are festers, that
Yep.
they literally are festering in the church. Some exposure is necessary.
It's necessary.
Some is definitely necessary. So when I say that, I'm not saying you got to kill a person, you got to expose them in that aspect, if you will. But when it's time to do exposing, expose. Don't cover it up. Something happened not something happened just a while ago, a couple of days ago, and I said something. It was like I was talking, and I was doing like this big talk with but not big talk, but and talking to a bunch of some people, and I asked if we have any more of these things that need to be addressed, and they were like, "Nah." Somebody else was like, "No, da 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 da," and I was like, "Oh, okay." Da, 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 da. I said that's right because I remember seeing it. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm making this known, and they were like, no, 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 and I was like, okay, well, no, no, no. Well, come to find out, that was something that was null and void, like no longer the case. Da 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 da. How are we supposed to know that if you don't tell us? Again, if if me and Kenny got divorced, we divorced. Ain't no secret, right? Ain't no secret. If we divorce, we divorce. That shouldn't be a secret. If I lost my job and I needed help with finances because I lost my job or whatever, and you say somebody really needs some help, da 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 da, and you don't give the reason of what they need, like you don't try to. I'm trying to say this the right way. I can't bless you in the area if I don't know what I'm blessing you for. We had somebody had a fire not too long ago, and they asked, if we would you know pray for the people, da 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 da, whatever whatever. And so I was like, yo, like, kids sizes, what, like, how can we help in other areas? That person gladly gave the sizes so that we would know what we are doing. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. We
Right.
can't know how to really help and heal a person if we don't know the situation.
Right.
And so some things need to be said, some things need to be addressed. And I'm just I'm just that person. I'm that person. I expose myself, I talk about myself, I talk about my truth, because I believe that me talking about my truth is going to help somebody. These young people these days, when we're talking about some of these things, because somebody asked me, like, what is the target audience for your book? Can you read? And I wasn't saying it to be funny, because there are younger people that are dealing. There are young people younger
Absolutely.
than me. I had a cousin that at 9 or 10 years old had an abortion. I
Wow.
said the age right.
That's
I
heavy.
promise you, I said the
That's
age right.
heavy.
And how we knew about it, how we found out about it, is because we took the girl to the hospital because of an accident. It was a car accident. And we were just going, oh, we're going to check up on da 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 da. And the lady was sort of kind of rude, whatever, and looking at my mama, da 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 da, whatever, whatever. And then that's how we found out. Because back then, there was no HIPAA laws.
Yeah.
So they just was like, da, da, da. My mama was like, oh, 40 quarters. Like, we didn't know. Like, we didn't know. And that supposedly at that time, it was not the first one. Her environment that she was in, though, made it to where it was, I'm going to venture to say that she was raped or molested, and that's what happened. That's what I'm going to venture to say. Because in my head, what you doing at 9, 10, that you are literally, I'm telling you, it's crazy. But there are people that age that, they know the real. They know if you're real about something.
Hmm.
These fake people out here, y'all can be fake all y'all want, but I'm not. And the young people today can spot you fake 20
Right.
miles down the road. They
And
way
here's the
ahead of you.
thing, Danielle, because we talk about church hurt, but let me throw this question out there. Let me throw this question out there. If we are covering up things generationally and culturally, if we're covering up
And
things in
culturally.
our home
Yep.
where we lay our heads, you think we're going to expose things in the church? We only there on Sundays.
Well, you have to think about that. We only there on Sundays, but I said
We've
this to
got to
my
deal
mom.
with the stuff in the home first before we.
You just said what I just said. You just
Yeah.
said what I just said. I was talking to my mom today about something, and I said the house is where it starts. We talk about
Yes.
this on Making Church Make Sense when we did this series. That the home, the family is the model of the church. The church is the model of the family. God says it. I'm coming back. Jesus coming back for His bride. He's the husband. He's coming back for His bride. So there's a household right there involved, the husband and the wife. Y'all make children. Sorry. So you make your children. So you got to keep your house in order. The enemy knows if the house is destroyed and it is a destruction in your
Yes.
house, when you get to the doggone church, you're going to have a whole toe up church because you got a whole bunch of tear up families. And that's what we had back in the day. A whole bunch of secrets, a whole bunch of lies. Nobody want to say nothing. And so guess what? When it comes up in the church, when Johnny go and sleep with Susie, oh, they can't say nothing, because then if Susie say something, then Johnny gonna say, well, Bradley, not you. I said Brad because you the first name, but they gonna say, Tim, Tim slept with Susie too. Or, well, you can't say nothing. You can't sit me down because you've been having babies yourself. How a
We're
pastor
talking
gonna talk
about,
to another pastor and you
yeah.
doing the same thing? They don't want to expose it, so it's
Or they're looking
hush.
at the people, they're looking at the deacons, they're looking at the ushers, and
Oh Lord,
these are
say that
all of
over.
the
Start
people
over,
that,
because every time you
I'm
start
sorry,
talking, start over. Every time you start
can
talking
you
for
hear
some,
me?
you pause. Yep, I got you. Now
Okay.
start over.
I
Go.
said, but as a child with a house full of secrets, you're looking at your uncle who's the deacon, but that same uncle is sneaking into your bedroom at night. So now I can't really
Ding
tie
ding,
church and
ding
Jesus
ding.
together too tough because the two just bothers my spirit. Because in church, where he is Hakamasai and bucking and shucking, and he the world's best deacon, he's the one
Tipping
that's
in my
touching
bed
me at
at
night.
night.
Yes.
Exactly. And
But we
that's a
don't want to deal with
problem.
that because mama said, well, just don't go around him. That's not the fix.
That's not the fix.
That's not the fix. I'm not
Girl,
the
that's
problem. So
and
yeah,
these
you got a
pains,
whole bunch of secrets in the church because the secrets are in the home.
because the secrets are in the home.
Yeah.
And then it leads to the, and then it goes back to here you go, and it is church hurt, because now all of y'all hurt because truth be told, everybody mad at everybody because they know what you're doing.
Yes.
But you gotta be fake. So you're being fake, but you're mad at everybody. So there's an ought there anyway. It's just a whole mess. People need to be saved and delivered and set free. Period. I could not stand watching a minister or like the church I gone to, the minister up there just doing his thing, and I'm sitting there like, man, you just asked me,
That part. That part.
and I'm being asked
Can
why
you
you
stay
ain't
out of my DM, sir?
why. Then I'm being asked why you ain't worshiping with. You want me to tell you why? I don't play with people like that that play with God. I'm
Right.
not. I don't deal that way,
Right.
sir. You just, and this is what happens. This is a continued thing. I ain't just talking about past stuff. Like this happens to this day. So
Absolutely.
how is the church going to do the work that we're supposed to do when we a mess? Make it make sense.
We have to deal with it. The only way
We
that
have
we're
to
ever
deal
going to
with it.
get past this, we're going to have to deal with our own stuff.
Yep,
And and the word says that we should study the words for ourselves
that
so that
part.
when we see things that don't line up, when we see things that don't represent God well, we can call those things out and we can move in the direction of those things that do line up with the word of God because only the
Absolutely.
word of God is going to last for us.
Only the word of God is going to last. Only Him.
We are going to
And
put a pin in this because and I know the chat's been going crazy. I've been seeing you guys all night. I think it's amazing. We are going to come back. Danielle, tell me the date again because I don't have my phone on me.
the 19th, we're going to
We're
come
going to
back
come
on
back
the
on the 19th.
19th.
We're in this book. Where am I? Again in my face. We're
That's you
coming back.
right.
We're
You
in
good.
this book on the 19th. And what are we talking about on the 19th? Please tell me.
So we're gonna do two things right quick. So on the 12th, we are, because it's going to be every Tuesday. But the 19th, we are going to still dealing with traumas, but we're not going to deal with the situation or topic of the book. So we're going to come back on the 19th with the information and the stuff that we're dealing with in the book. And the topic on the 19th, I'm going to it because I can't remember what I said. Um on the 19th, I don't remember. Um Wait. No, not on the 19th. I'm
On the
sorry.
26th is
The
what I've got.
topic that we're going to, the 26th. I'm sorry. The 12th and the 19th is going to be two different things. Sorry guys, we're doing a little bit of helping right here. Help myself, help me. The topic for the 26th, where Shawn, I was about to call your nickname, it was right on my tip of my tongue, where Shawn is going to come back. We're going to talk about sexual abuse and the man who leads me. That's what we're going to talk about on the 26th. You don't want to miss that one.
Don't want to
Eeh!
miss that one.
That's going to be sexual abuse and the man who leads me. I'm going to be coming in on the 12th and on the 19th to deal with some other stuff within trauma, but parts of the book, those pieces that we're going to talk about sexual abuse and the man who leads me on the 26th. Share it, guys. Let everybody know that we're talking about it. Yes, we're covering hard topics. I'm sorry. We're going to talk about it. We're going to say what we have to say, and it's not to be a bashing and rude. It's just the truth. We have got to overcome. And the only way we're going to overcome from the pains that we're dealing with is we have to deal with it. We
Right.
have to talk about it. We have to have some exposures going on, and I'm not talking about necessarily your personal exposure. You don't have to do that. I'm exposing my own self and my own truth. I'm dealing with Danielle. So that is what we're going to be dealing with on the 26th: sexual abuse and the man who leads me. I am going to say this because everything that we dealt with, again, as Shawn, oh, I said it right. I
You
thought I said
did.
your nickname just now. I
You
was like,
did
no, wait.
good.
But as Shawn stated, everything that we're dealing with right now is coming from the book. So if you're out there and you do not have the book, Shame is Not to Blame, How Overcoming Pain Leads to Purpose, definitely go out and you can go to the website www.daniellerlee.com, and you can definitely purchase the book there. I promise you, I don't feel like you're going to be disappointed at all. I've heard a lot of feedback and they have been good, and I'm appreciative of that. And I'm not saying that there's no negatives somewhere. I just haven't heard them. I just put it like that. I just haven't heard them. But I appreciate everything about what you did with me tonight, Shawn. Y'all, this is the longest one we've done. We try not to go long, but this is the longest one we've done. But you know why though? And I noticed, because one thing that we watch our engagement. So I know that, like, if you're on one page on Facebook, you probably see two people there. Or you on another page, you probably see three people there. But we have Facebook, my personal page, the business page, YouTube, and Twitter going, and we can see from all four. So we see what the engagement is. So we want to make sure that we keep you guys engaged. We're not going to just be talking and talk. Here's one thing that I will say though, I'm not focused on the numbers when it's ministry assignment.
Absolutely.
I'm really don't care,
Absolutely.
because whether it be 20 people, 30, 40, 50 people that hear it, whether it be one solid person that gets it and they runs with it. Help my English teacher, don't be watching this. They run with it and they can grow from it. My assignment is complete. That's what I'm here for. I want you all to know that you all can heal, you all can live. It is not the end of the world, people. Don't let people bash you, put you in a box. Shame is not the blame. You don't have to be you don't have to be ashamed.
You don't
You
have
don't
to.
have to be ashamed of the things you've gone through. I'm not, listen, I'm talking about it. Ah, there's people all over the world about to see this. I'm
Okay,
saying
that part.
that part. And I'm talking about it because guess what? I'm free to do so now.
Absolutely.
I couldn't
There's a
do it,
freedom that comes with
girl.
dealing. There's a freedom that comes with
Girl,
dealing.
and it feels so good. Like,
Yeah.
it feels so good. I'm free, so free. I'm so free. I'm free to even, like, I love God. How they Mary them say it. I love God. I ain't gonna do that because I can't stand when they do it like that anyway. But I love God to the fullest. I love him so much that I know personally that I can say that, still live a life in freedom, still live a life with integrity and all of that, still have fun, still do Danielle, still be Danielle, because that's who I'm gonna be, because I am authentically, uniquely, wonderfully made. I'm me. Nobody else can be me. I don't put myself in the same position, category, or boat as anybody else, because that's not who it is. I'm Danielle. I'm me. And I'm gonna be me. I done said it about two times now. The third time's the charm. I'ma be me. Okay. And you should live, you should be yourself. You should be your good self. Live your best life. Live your life pleasing to God. Cause I'm gonna say it, because just like Shawn said, I put God in everything first, in all things.
Right.
Without him, my belief, what I believe is, without him, I can do nothing. I can't do anything to be proper. I can do nothing. So
So
with that being,
the
to
takeaways
take
from
away,
tonight is you cannot heal what you don't deal with. In order
I
to
girl, let me tell you
you
something. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Every time you start off with something real good, your system
listen, the
go,
devil is
ah,
upset
the
about it.
devil is upset
The
about it. Now
devil is upset about it.
let's
Okay, but
start
you can
over
hear
with
me
the
now, right?
takeaway. We can,
You got me?
yes, I
Okay.
got you. Go.
So, in order to heal, you must deal with it. Yes, it's going to be painful. Yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, it's going to look ugly. And it may even bring some shame in the beginning.
Right.
because it's going to come from a hurtful place. But you can get past that and you can be whole, you can be happy, you can live your life in fullness. God said that
Right.
I came that you may have life and have life more abundantly. We already know that abundance is on the other side. He means this side.
Right. Right.
You get to live this life abundantly,
Abundantly.
but you can't
Yes.
live in abundance and live in a lie. So you got to deal with it.
You about to make me stand up
You
out my chair. Girl, I'm trying to stay seated. I'm
You
trying to.
can't live in abundance
Woo!
and a lie. You've got to deal with it. And you've seen the numbers and you've seen the chat. You've seen Danielle. You've seen myself. You have a group of people that want nothing more for you than for you to live in your fullness,
Exactly.
for you to live to be the best version of yourself.
That part.
And for the ladies that are on the line, talk to that little girl that you left when she was 5, 10, 9. If the
13.
molestation happened, if the rape happened, if the abuse happened, if the abandonment happened, whatever it was, take Jesus to the place where you died. Take it back to Lazarus. Take
Ooh.
Jesus to the place where it died and get excited about it, because when Jesus went, all Jesus did was speak to Lazarus and Lazarus came forth. So allow Jesus to speak to wherever you are,
Wherever you are, let him speak
wherever
in
you
that dead
are,
place.
whether you're 5 years old or 18 years old, or whether you're 65 or 85 years old,
That part.
wherever you are, allow Jesus to speak to your situation
That's
so
good.
that new life can begin, because only God can give new life. I have loved it. Danielle, thank you so much for inviting me. The next topic is going to be heavy. Well, the next topic with me
Whoa.
is going to be
Yeah.
heavy because we're going to be dealing with sexual abuse, and everybody has a story. Um,
Everybody has a story.
Everybody has a story. Know that you're in a safe place. Feel free to chime in as you did. We'll do a better job of trying to see more of the comments, but
Right.
sometimes we get so caught up in talking to each other that we
Listen.
forget that other people are involved. So
Right.
Danielle, I'm going to allow you to close out however you see fit. To the people that are watching, and to Danielle, I love you. I love you with my whole heart.
You know I
You be
love you.
well, be blessed, and be healed in Jesus' name until we see each other again.
Oh, love you. And
I love
guys, thank
you.
you. Love you, love you, love you. And guys, thank you so, so very much again for joining us and for being on here with me and Shawn. I was about to say it again. Me and Shawn. Thank you so much for being there for us and to listening to us and talking to us and sharing everything with us. To sharing, letting us being able to share ourselves with you. That's what I'm trying to get it out, y'all. I'm so sorry because I'm sort of kind of full, honestly, because again, looking at the comments, looking at the statements that are being made, as Shawn said, we aren't alone. Everybody is dealing with something, but again, just know this: that in order to heal, you have to deal. In order to deal, you have to feel. You can't heal something or deal with something and you don't feel it. And so I encourage each of you to do as was stated, go back, thinking within yourself, deal with the person, the little girl, the little boy that's in you. Because guess what? Girls are not the only ones that go through this type of trauma. So let me go ahead and put that out there just in case. And share it with the guy. Share it with your brother, your sister, your uncle, whomever. Older people, share it because just like, and it doesn't have a number. Ooh, I promise you, it doesn't have an age. That's what I'm trying to say. This does not have an age, that number to it, because there's some things that I've learned recently in life that older people are still dealing with and hurting and trying to overcome. So I thank you all again for coming. I thank you all for being with us. I thank you all for sharing with us, listening to me go through and walk through some of the book and the journey that I've gone through with you guys. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you staying on this long with us because we've been on long tonight. But I pray and I hope that this has been a blessing. If you have any questions, if you want to do some side conversations with us, please let me know. You can actually hit me up in my messenger. You can hit me up on Facebook. You can, if you go to the website, as well. You can actually contact me via email through the website. You can do that. There's Linktree. You can go on Linktree and you can see all of our links there. And when you see the links, you can hit me up again in the messengers for conversation. If you want one-on-one questioning, I'm fine with that. I'm transparent. I believe in actually sharing so that somebody else can be blessed. So I'm gonna stop talking because we getting ready to hit 2, and I can't be on here to say I've been on this thing for 2 hours. So I love you guys. Remember, April the 12th, we will be back on April the 12th. I will let you all know what that topic is going to be. We will be back on the 19th, but on the 26th, when Shawn comes back with us, it will be sexual abuse and the man that leads me. You don't want to miss this. Until next time, Danielle speaks.